What's up, gangsters? It is Friday, December the 4th, and time for a group build update. As you guys know, who are also entered in Andy's 70's build, I am doing the Tamiya 1973 release Type 82 kubelwagen, and that's been good fun. It's a really simple kit that gives you lots of opportunities to be creative within the rules. And I needed to get cracking on it because not only do we only have till the end of the month, but I needed a break from some of the other stuff I've been doing. And so it was a good time to just really buckle down and make some progress. So let's see exactly what that process entails. Okay, so here's what's been going on. I have been doing basically nothing but scratch building. As you guys know, this one of the rules for this group build is that it's got to be out of the box, but Andy is letting us do scratch building. And because this little kit only has like 10 parts and not a lot of detail, there is ample room for scratch building creativity. So I downloaded myself a few photographs off the internet to see what a kubelwagen is really supposed to look like, and I got busy, and you can see the results of that so far. Let me see here if I can. I'll just get something to point with. Let's see. I have added some structure underneath the dashboard here. Maybe I'll get in closer. You can get a better look. The pictures of the kubelwagen show that there's definitely a bunch of stuff going on underneath there. And the kit really gives you nothing but this top section and this piece here that's the instrument panel. And it's just empty under there. And since I'm not going to have the top up on it, I wanted to have a little bit more structure there. And none of this is particularly accurate. It's basically just stuff that's close to being right, but is mostly intended just to give you the impression of things going on. So there's some type of a canister that goes underneath there, and that is basically just a round section of sprue with some strips of aluminum foil cut out of this wrapper from a scalpel blade and super glued on there. And this bar that runs across the bottom of the instrument panel is basically just a piece of lead wire that's formed into the right shape. And let's see, because it's going to show through the opening there, I took the handle of the shovel, which I am not going to use, and I attached it to the end of the steering wheel so that I've got a little bit of a steering column that will show up in there. I've also tried to add some of the corrugated metal structure that is on the inside of the kubelwagen's doors, and that definitely could have been better, but I didn't decide to do it until after I'd already put both sides on the thing, and working in there was a little bit difficult. So but it's okay. It creates the impression of some structure there, and that's what I really wanted. When I pop this off, I can show you the rest. I also used some lead wire to put frames on the backs of the seats, and I put a bulkhead in there so that I've got a bit of a firewall, and so that you can't see all the way through the front bumper. And I added some foot controls, which are definitely not accurate. The kubelwagen's foot controls actually pivot from the floor, so those are not right. But again, they'll give the some visual interest in there, and they'll be pretty close. Speaking of keeping the light from passing all the way through, I added some pieces of styrene on the underside there, because right there by the seats, in that gap right there, you can see all the way through that, a lot of light coming through that, so I fixed that. I also filled in these spots where the canvas top is supposed to go, and you will also notice a couple of other accessories here, which are not really accessories. That is where the aforementioned shovel goes. And since I'm not using it, I needed to plug those two holes. And if you don't know this tip, this is a really good one. A great way to plug a round hole is to just take a piece of sprue and stretch it so that you've got a tapered plug, and then you just jam it in there and put some tamiya extra thin on it and basically weld it into place. And when you go to clip it off, and this may need a little bit of cleanup afterwards, probably won't be perfect, but when you clip it off, then you've got your holes perfectly filled. Super simple. If you do need a little bit of filling, like it looks like I might right there, it's certainly not much. It's a lot easier than dealing with filling the entire hole with some kind of a filler, especially if you're in a place like that where it's going to be difficult to sand it down perfectly. So a little tip there. I assume everybody already knows that one, but hey, you never know. Okay, the other main thing that I did, I guess, was I used another section of sprue and some brass tubing to put a muffler and an exhaust pipe on the bottom side there. So that should look pretty nice. And I spent a lot of time trying to solve sort of a big structural issue. One thing I discovered when I put this thing together is that it didn't want to go far enough down on the body shell didn't want to go far enough down on the chassis section, and it's still pretty hard to get it to do that. And I spent a lot of time fiddling with it to get it to do that because I don't know what the deal is. I've had a hard time figuring out exactly where the interferences are, because every place where I've thought they were that seemed obvious has been of minimal help in actually getting this problem fixed. But if you look right over the top of the fender there, you can see it because I'm not squeezing on it real hard, but there's a huge gap there. And so I did a lot of work, because if you look, see, you can see all the way through there, and that's no good. So I've done a lot of work to solve that problem, and when I get everything correct and I put some pressure on it, the gap closes up almost all the way. It's still not quite there, but I'll probably end up running some Mr. Surfacer 500 or something in there to finish that off. But it's been interesting to work on this thing, because the tamiya quality is definitely there, but it certainly is not as perfect, if you will, as their newer stuff is. And hey, that's all good, because that's just all part of the adventure and part of the fun of doing a group build like this. One thing that really was kind of cool is that this was in the box. Look at that. Tiny little tube of tamiya glue, complete with instructions, I guess, on the back side. And I've been very curious to know if this 50, 40, however many 40-year-old tube of glue is any good, because as you can see, it is still sealed up. So let's find out. Hopefully without stabbing myself in the end of the finger with my hobby knife here. Let's see what happens when we open the end of this up, if there's still any actual glue in there. Wouldn't that be fun? Okay, so let's see, we got a little hole open there. Let's see what happens. I have a feeling that it's probably pretty dried up. There probably wasn't a whole lot of glue in there to start with. Yep, pretty dried up. Nothing at all wants to come out of that. So that's, not quite as robust as canned food at the North Pole, I guess. But hey, we don't have to eat it, so it's all good. Okay, there we go. That is how the 70s group build adventure is progressing. And next step is to start throwing some paint on there. So hopefully in the next few days I'll be issuing yet another update and we'll see how things are going. All right, see ya.